Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue facing Jocelyn Jacks as she navigates her unexpected role in the WSB and the shocking assignment that awaits her. The unexpected assignment. Jocelyn Jacks finds herself in an impossible situation as her first WSB assignment is revealed. What she never anticipated was being tasked with the same mission that Colette Moreau previously failed to complete, the assassination of Valentin Cassadine. This revelation comes as a devastating blow to someone who has dedicated her life to healing rather than harming. The young woman is completely unaware that Charlotte Cassadine has been safely reunited with Lulu Spencer in Port Charles. Her only knowledge was that Charlotte had previously been with Valentin, which makes tracking her target significantly more complicated than she initially realized. The WSB has been monitoring Valentin's movements through Charlotte, but this intelligence is now outdated, leaving Jocelyn at a severe disadvantage before she even begins. The assignment creates an unbearable moral conflict for Jocelyn, who has spent years studying medicine with the sole purpose of saving lives. The stark contrast between her chosen path and this new directive couldn't be more pronounced, creating a crisis of conscience that threatens to consume her. A haunting past decision. The memory of killing Cyrus Renault continues to haunt Jocelyn deeply. Though it was clearly self-defense, with Cyrus approaching her with a hatchet during her unauthorized civilian search, the experience left psychological scars she never wanted to revisit. What makes this even more remarkable is that Jocelyn had never even practiced at a shooting range before that fateful encounter. Her natural instinct had been to disable rather than kill, even in that moment of extreme danger. Had Brennan not arrived when he did, Jocelyn would have immediately called emergency services for Cyrus, regardless of the potential legal consequences for herself. This speaks volumes about her character and her fundamental commitment to preserving life rather than taking it. The transition from medical student to reluctant shooter to being recruited as a professional assassin represents a nightmarish evolution that Jocelyn never could have imagined for herself. Each step has pulled her further from her true calling and deeper into a world that contradicts everything she believes in. Family complications and dangerous liaisons. Adding another layer of complexity to Jocelyn's predicament is her complete unawareness of the romantic relationship that has developed between her mother, Carly Spencer, and her new boss, Jack Brennan. This connection creates a dangerous entanglement of personal and professional boundaries that puts both mother and daughter at risk. Carly remains oblivious to Brennan's true nature and position, dismissing Jason Morgan's warnings despite his history of protecting the Spencer family. Jason's instincts about Brennan will likely prove correct, positioning him to eventually come to both women's rescue when the situation inevitably deteriorates further. The irony of Carly's ignorance mirrors Jocelyn's own, creating parallel narratives of mother and daughter both being manipulated by the same dangerous man for different purposes. This shared vulnerability, though unknown to them both, creates a ticking time bomb situation that threatens to explode with devastating consequences. The moral dilemma. Jocelyn finds herself forced to follow leads on Valentin while questioning the very premise of her assignment. The fundamental question plagues her: why assassinate rather than arrest him? This contradiction highlights the troubling nature of Brennan's WSB, where due process and the presumption of innocence have been abandoned. She can't help but compare the current WSB under Brennan's leadership with how Frisco Jones once ran the organization. The stark difference becomes even more concerning when she realizes that Brennan assumed control after Victor Cassadine's arrest, suggesting a potential connection or agenda that remains hidden. The ethical quandary deepens as Jocelyn reviews Valentin's dossier, recognizing that locating him will be exceptionally difficult now that Charlotte is no longer with him. This technical challenge provides a temporary reprieve from having to make an immediate moral decision, but the clock continues to tick on her assignment. A desperate plan forms. Caught between impossible choices, Jocelyn begins to formulate a desperate plan. She recognizes that refusing Brennan's orders could result in him exposing her for Cyrus's killing, potentially ending both her medical career and her freedom. Yet following through with the assassination goes against everything she stands for. Her instincts scream that this situation is far beyond her capabilities, but rather than retreating, she makes a bold decision. If she manages to locate Valentin, she'll immediately contact Anna Devane and reveal everything that has transpired. Despite the risk of facing charges for Cyrus's death, she determines that Anna represents her only hope for navigating this treacherous situation with her moral compass intact. This strategy represents Jocelyn's attempt to transform an assassination mission into an arrest operation, staying true to her principles while trying to mitigate the damage to her own future. It's a dangerous gambit that could easily backfire, but it reflects her unwavering commitment to saving lives rather than taking them. In this moment of clarity, Jocelyn reaffirms her identity as a healer, not a killer. Despite being thrust into the shadowy world of international espionage and assassination, she refuses to abandon the core values that define her. This internal strength may prove to be her greatest asset as she navigates the dangerous path ahead, caught between Brennan's demands and her own conscience. As the walls closen around her, Jocelyn's determination to find a third option, neither compliance nor simple refusal, demonstrates a resourcefulness and moral courage that will be tested to its limits in the coming days. The question remains whether she can outmaneuver a seasoned spymaster while protecting both her principles and her future. Next, we will learn about the issues surrounding Charlotte Cassadine's dramatic return to Port Charles and the potential chaos that may follow in her wake. Charlotte's presence in Port Charles is bound to shake things up in ways no one sees coming. Will she make amends with those she hurt, or is she gearing up for another round of chaos? Lulu Spencer desperately hopes to provide her niece with stability, but there's growing concern that Charlotte may have inherited more of the Cassadine darkness than anyone initially realized. The shadow of her family legacy looms large, and without proper guidance, she could easily slip into the manipulative patterns that have defined generations of Cassadines before her. The young girl's reappearance could spell trouble for more than just Anna Devane. Without Valentin to guide her moral compass, Charlotte appears increasingly lost and vulnerable, making her susceptible to outside influences that could further push her toward destructive behavior. Psychological experts might suggest that this period of uncertainty could be particularly formative for her developing personality, potentially cementing either positive growth or troubling tendencies. She might form unexpected alliances or dangerous rivalries with some of Port Charles's younger residents, depending on where her emotional journey leads her. The social dynamics among Port Charles's youth have shifted during her absence, and Charlotte's return disrupts the delicate balance that had been established. Her intelligence combined with her emotional volatility makes her an unpredictable force in any social circle she enters. Not to mention, Charlotte's return also carries significant implications for Aidan Weber, whom she fiercely bullied in the past. Their history represents unresolved trauma that could reignite at any moment. Child psychologists would note that without proper intervention and guided reconciliation, such childhood conflicts often resurface with even greater intensity when left unaddressed. The Weber family undoubtedly watches Charlotte's return with trepidation, wondering if they'll need to protect Aidan once again. With her Cassadine blood running strong and her father now out of the picture, there's no telling just how far Charlotte might go if she feels threatened or misunderstood. The genetic predisposition toward extreme behavior, combined with environmental factors including abandonment issues and past trauma, creates a perfect storm for potential outbursts. Those closest to her walk a tightrope between offering support and maintaining necessary boundaries. Many in Port Charles still vividly remember her troubling behavior before she was sent away. Her vendetta against Anna Devane nearly turned deadly in a shocking escalation that few saw coming. Now that she's back, Anna has every legitimate reason to be on edge, possibly even implementing security measures to protect herself. Has Charlotte truly put this vendetta behind her, or is she still secretly harboring deep-seated resentment toward those she once considered enemies? The psychological scars of such intense childhood hatred rarely heal completely without professional intervention. Charlotte has always displayed a mischievous side that occasionally bordered on concerning, but after months of emotional turmoil, Her return brings with it an unexpected edge that worries even those who care for her most. She's been through an extraordinary whirlwind of manipulation, mind games, and heartbreak that would challenge even the most resilient adult, let alone a developing child still forming her identity. This psychological pressure cooker has likely left her more unpredictable than ever before, with emotional outbursts potentially triggered by seemingly minor incidents. While Laura Collins and Lulu Spencer will undoubtedly be desperate to help her readjust to normal life in Port Charles, providing the stability and unconditional love she needs, it may not be that simple to reach the wounded child beneath the defensive exterior. Charlotte's trust has been repeatedly betrayed by adults she depended on, creating a foundation of suspicion that will be difficult to overcome. The healing process requires patience that the fast-paced drama of Port Charles rarely allows. After everything she's endured, including being manipulated by Victor Cassadine and then losing her father, who is now a fugitive from justice, Charlotte isn't the same innocent young girl who once brightened the town with her presence. Trauma changes people fundamentally, especially children still developing their sense of self and security. The psychological impact of such betrayal at a formative age often manifests in unexpected ways, from withdrawal to aggression to manipulative behaviors learned from those who hurt her. Valentin Cassadine's beloved daughter is once again positioned as a source of potential turmoil in Port Charles, and those who thought they could breathe easy may need to reconsider their sense of security. Her return creates ripples throughout the community, affecting not just those directly connected to her but the broader social fabric of this close-knit town. The uncertainty surrounding her intentions keeps everyone slightly off balance, waiting to see which version of Charlotte has returned to them. General Hospital spoilers tease that Charlotte Cassadine is finally back in Port Charles after her extended absence, but her homecoming is anything but the peaceful reunion many had hoped for. Instead of bringing closure, her arrival reopens old wounds and creates new tensions that threaten the delicate balance of relationships throughout the town. The dramatic potential of her return cannot be overstated, as Charlotte stands at a crossroads that could define not just her future but the future of Port Charles itself. Next, we will learn about the unfolding drama surrounding Drew Quartermaine's ambitious press conference and how it might spectacularly backfire, affecting multiple Port Charles residents, especially Willow Corinthos. The impending scandal and its potential aftermath. General Hospital's latest storyline is building toward what promises to be an explosive revelation that could forever alter the dynamics between several key characters. Willow Corinthos may soon find herself at the center of a storm of scandalous information that will shake her world to its core. The news Willow eventually receives will likely devastate her personal life and force her to confront uncomfortable truths about those closest to her. Sources suggest this revelation might involve intimate details about Drew's past relationships, specifically one that hits particularly close to home for Willow. Nina Reeves appears to be wrestling with her conscience regarding an offer she extends to Willow. Her reservations stem from the potential fallout of her actions, knowing that once certain information becomes public, there's no turning back. The complicated relationship between Nina, Carly, and Willow adds layers of intrigue to this developing situation. Drew Quartermaine's reputation crisis. Drew Quartermaine, now infamously dubbed Congressman Cutthroat following a scathing exposé in The Invader, is desperately attempting to rehabilitate his tarnished public image. The article, orchestrated by Curtis Ashford, has generated significant public backlash, pushing Drew into damage control mode. In his attempt to shift the narrative, Drew has organized a press conference centered around a pediatric sports initiative at the hospital. His strategy appears straightforward: highlight his philanthropic efforts to overshadow the negative press. However, this calculated move may backfire spectacularly. Drew's preparations for the press conference reveal his increasingly manipulative nature. He's resorted to blackmailing Portia Robinson to ensure her presence and pressured Jordan Ashford to attend as a representative of the mayor's office. These strong-arm tactics demonstrate how desperate Drew has become to salvage his reputation. Nina and Carly's strategic alliance. The unlikely alliance between Nina Reeves and Carly Spencer continues to evolve as they share a common goal: preventing Willow from moving into Drew's residence with her children. Their urgency is palpable as Willow nears finalizing her relocation plans. Carly has made her position crystal clear to Nina: they must act swiftly to turn Willow against Drew. This directive has apparently prompted Nina to formulate a plan involving the upcoming press conference, though she harbors significant doubts about proceeding. The moral complexity of Nina's position is particularly fascinating. While determined to protect Willow, she's potentially preparing to reveal information that could cause her stepdaughter considerable pain. This internal conflict highlights the ethical gray areas that define Port Charles's most compelling characters. The press conference, a perfect storm. What Drew envisions as a straightforward public relations victory may transform into his worst nightmare. The press conference, intended to showcase his charitable work, could instead become the perfect venue for his public undoing. Several scenarios might unfold during this highly anticipated event. Nina could arrange for damaging evidence, authentic or fabricated, to be leaked to reporters just before the conference begins. Instead of fielding softball questions about his initiative, Drew might face an unexpected inquisition that leaves him visibly uncomfortable and defensive. Another possibility involves the revelation of Drew's complicated romantic history, particularly his relationships with both Willow and her mother, Nina. This explosive information could emerge during the press conference, either through Nina's machinations or via independent journalistic investigation. Willow's moment of truth. The most heartbreaking aspect of this unfolding drama centers on Willow, who may witness Drew's public humiliation firsthand. More devastating still, she might learn about Drew's past relationship with Nina in the most public and humiliating way possible. If reporters begin questioning Drew about his romantic entanglements with both mother and daughter, Willow would naturally demand immediate clarification. This could force Nina to acknowledge her previous involvement with Drew, creating a profoundly uncomfortable situation for all parties involved. The emotional fallout from such a revelation would be immense. Willow would need to process not only Drew's deception but also the uncomfortable reality of his intimate history with her mother. This knowledge could permanently alter her relationships with both Drew and Nina. The irony of Drew's situation. There's a delicious irony in Drew's current predicament. His press conference, conceived as the solution to his image problems, may instead exacerbate them beyond repair. His confidence that this event will rehabilitate his public persona demonstrates a dangerous hubris that often precedes a dramatic fall. As General Hospital viewers know, characters who predict positive outcomes often experience precisely the opposite. Drew's optimism about this press conference virtually guarantees that something will go terribly wrong, further damaging his already precarious standing in Port Charles. Stay tuned to General Hospital as this compelling storyline continues to develop, promising dramatic confrontations, emotional revelations, and the potential downfall of Drew Quartermaine. The coming weeks will undoubtedly deliver the high-stakes drama that loyal GH fans have come to expect and love.